G'day, Snappers, and welcome to the Sunday Snap, coming to you through the SC Ballers feed. This is the podcast where we give our snap reactions to the NRL SuperCoach round that was. My name's Jono, coach of the Beans, a name that's a little bit fitting after this week. And with me to talk about all the big news coming out of round 24 is the coach at Tubes Pods. Tubes! How you going, mate?
Yeah, good, Jono. I'm feeling good. I've had a pretty good week. I think I'm 1,414 something. I really should look these things up before we start.
1454.
1454. But I've donned the ball of blacks tonight, and that's for you, and the commiserations for your Supercoach season. That was soaring high this time yesterday on Saturday evening, and then come crashing back down to earth on Sunday.
Just call me Icarus, Tubes. I flew too close to the sun. I was having a good week. I got the Hines VC. I had Walshy. It was all coming up, Jono. And like I did say last week on the pod that I was leaning to it, I have done Scotty Drinkwater out, Thomas Trbojevic in. And that was not a good trade. And it had been a 105-point difference. The only way it could have been worse would have been if Tommy got that score and got hurt. That's the only possible way that it could have gone worse than what it did.
I mean, he still could be hurt. The way he was running around and looking, and his interest levels, like I'm going to assume that he's slightly injured again. So you never know. We might hear a niggle has come out after the game, and we go from there.
Tubes, I'm flipping the script on what we normally do because you've got me fired up. Let's just get straight into Rage Trade. Let's just get straight into Rage Trade right now. Tubes, we have. Are we sticking with the same Rage Trade? Or are you going with your other guy? I'll go to you first.
I've got another one. I prefer to stick with you. I've also brought in Tom Trbojevic this week. However, I brought him in for Lehigh Hopewade, and he did outscore Lehigh Hopewade, so I wasn't feeling too bad about that. He's beaten him by 15, Hopewade 26, Trbojevic 41. I'm mainly a bit annoyed because I was thinking about not doing it this week to not waste a trade. I wasn't completely sold on it. And then with the Garrick injury and some other carnage happening, I'm a bit less, I'm annoyed by that. But yeah, I'm obviously not in your situation.
No, I just, look, I went into it with my eyes open. I didn't think it was a without risk move. Like, obviously doing that kind of a move, you know you're coming in with some risk, but the way that Manly looked, they were absolutely deplorable, Tubes. How bad was their attack? Like, they just, every time they try to go sweeping, like, backline play, sometimes they just skip Tommy. Like, he'd get cut out or Brooks would throw a dummy and go himself. That was frustrating. But to be fair, even when Tommy got involved, he didn't look dangerous. He didn't look threatening. Tigers completely shut it down every single time with ease. Now, I said this after the Raiders game, that his running game still doesn't look all the way there. I thought he'd be able to make the difference up with his passing game. But when he does try and take on the line, it just doesn't look like it's that old Tommy we're used to where he's trying to bust through and almost like believes in himself that he can score every time he's near the line. We're just not seeing that now.
No. And it's been a bit weird too. I thought today particularly it stood out. I mean, he's obviously playing fullback again, but it felt like he really only got involved on those left side sweeps. Like, he's not really doing it on both sides. And he's not just taking those hit-ups off the ruck. I mean, maybe part of it is Manly's also not getting a good roll on. Their forwards are just getting dominated each and every week. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm forgetting even whether he's injured or not, that maybe the smart play might be they drop Cooler back to fullback. I know we love Cooler at the Ballers, but he looks their only attacking threat at the moment for Manly.
Yeah. And look, on the flip side, the reason this Rage Trade is so ragey is because I did it from a bloke who got 146. I think Drinky's on with updates still to come. They'll probably drop. He'll end up on 160 or something as we're recording. But that makes it worse because not only have I got a guy who didn't look good this week, I've traded him for a bloke who went absolutely nuclear. Like, I could have been pushing up massively in the ranks, score up near 1,500. Instead, I'm sub 1,400 as it stands. So
yeah, I mean, you haven't had a bad week. For all consideration, you've had 1,397. You still might have green arrows, maybe slightly, or certainly not dropping back too badly. It's more as you say, it's the sliding doors. You would have been right up there, for sure, if it went the other way.
And just to top it off, Drinky's goal kicking again too. Like that was part of the decision was okay. He's lost the goal kicking. That's dropping his floor lower. He's had a few low scores. The Cowboys look really bad, and Drinky got that goal kicking back. There was a part of me really wanting it to be shared between him and Clifford, but it was not shared. It was Drinky all the way, and he didn't miss a single kick today just to rub a little bit more salt in. He's obviously been getting his practice up, Drinky. Good on him.
Yeah. And we'll get into it, but the Knights looked terrible. Like it never looked good for non-Drinky owners today. Obviously, I don't already own Drinky. Wasn't bringing him in given they had the bye left, but we'll see. Hopefully Turbo bounces back next week with a big 150 on his own, but certainly after today's performance, it's not feeling hopeful.
No, like you've said before, Tubes, a week is a long time in SuperCoach, and if next week Drinky gets 30 and Tommy gets 150, I'll be a happy boy, and this week will be erased from my mind.
Yeah, 6 hours today was a long time in SuperCoach compared to your mood at 155. You're referring to yourself as the hot hand. You're really up and about.
Sorry, I am not referring to... I want that off the record. I've never once called myself the hot hand. But
you liked being referred to as the hot hand, though. You were enjoying being hot hand Juju that Dan was referring to you as. And but as you say, the hot hand got a bit close to the sun today and got burnt.
Tubes, who's your rage trade?
I'm just filthy. I brought in Jackson Ford a few weeks back as a bit of a front row, second row forward cover, mainly thinking good warm body. His price was right and his minutes and his role was really on the rise. Weren't sure about Tino at the time when he would be back, so it was more just to be able to flip around with the Haas, May, buys, etc., etc. But I've ended up only playing him once, and that was last week for his 34. And then this week I didn't play him because Tino was back, and he's busted out 91 in base plus power, basically.
Well, that's good, Tubes. You can play him next week.
Yeah, but he's gone and done a crusher tackle or something. I don't know, but he's suspended for 3 weeks, which sees him out for the year. So it's a beauty. It's a rage trade, but I actually have to trade him. I don't have to trade him, but he won't be playing for me again this season, and he's 540k. So that'll be nice, 91 into his rolling average for next season.
So just like that, bang, Tubes, you've got to replace Reuben Garrick and Jackson Ford next week when trades are already low.
Like I said, I don't have to do Ford. I got Hudson Young back. I didn't play him this week, so I don't need him in my 17. I've got Hudson 18.
Yeah,
I've got
true.
Hudson back next week too.
You don't have many Sharks, do you? Because there's a lot of people who have Nico, Brayley, and AFB on the bye next week. You don't have that problem, do you? You just got Nico?
No, I got Nico and Talakai. But the Talakai one's not that hurting, doesn't hurt too much. My big concern, and this isn't about my team particularly, but Keeney, we'll talk about. Keeney played 17 minutes. I've still got Brimson as my second 5'8". I didn't play Brimson this week. And he might be another number that I might have to play that I might not want to. But yeah, otherwise I'm looking pretty good. Still on for the run home challenge, which we're still absolutely flying. Everyone should be able to go and check out how they've gone as of Monday morning at baller.live for those that have signed up. We've got a little contributor wager going on between the 5 of us, and I think this week has probably solidified me with that 1450. I think I'm sort of kicking far and away from CMAC, and I think I'm making sure that I'm probably, if I'm not winning the run home challenge, I'll at least won't be coming last this time.
Yeah, no, you're looking good. And CMAC wasn't even opening the app, he said, over the weekend, so that's a sign of where things are at with him, I think. I agree that CMAC's going to have to start getting that goatee ready. But, Chief, speaking of the Run Home Challenge, as it stands, it's really tight at the top for this week's winner. At the moment, it's Steve, coach of the Doggies, who's on a 1671, but he is only 6 points ahead of 2 other teams who are on 1665. Flano's Flops, coached by Jack, and the Dino Dance is coached by Craig. So updates are going to be really big when these last 2 games of updates come in. That could completely flip around. But good luck to Steve. And Lauren's Broncos now the overall leader in the Run Home Challenge. She had a big score, Lauren, this week, 16:33 herself. So really big score.
She did she win it overall this week? No, she didn't.
No,
she won it over. She won the Run Home Challenge weekly prize 2 weeks ago when Reece went big. So when the Broncos go big, Lauren goes big, and the Broncos have had a 2 out of 3 good weeks. So yeah, it's her team's obviously flying.
And while we're talking about stuff from Baller, BALLR.live, baller.live is the site. That's where you can see those updated tables. You cannot see that on the SuperCoach app. Updated player statistics available with a login. They're fantastic. 5-round average of base plus power. I mean, I just love that stat, which is why I always mention it, because it's not readily available elsewhere. They've got player profiles coming really soon. And also, as Matt has teased, the chat coming very soon too. So for those people who like that community feel, that's going to be going on with Baller as well very soon.
I don't think he's teased it. I think he's basically said whenever I just find the time to get it up and running. But
nice.
So hopefully it's soon. I am looking forward to the player profiles component of it. Just to launch to have a look at and get ready for the SuperCoach final series, which we'll probably be doing a bit of a league for as well. And they teased, and we talked about it on the Thursday night watch along, just the fact that it's different VCs and Cs, but also that it's unlimited trades, no salary cap. So those player profiles, I think, will be pretty good if you're looking for sort of some pod moves, because I think there could be a lot of teams that are the same when we get to that end of this into the finals.
I reckon it'd be more. I reckon actually the opposite, Tubes. I reckon it'd be pretty pod.
But they'll be the. I imagine, and I don't know how many there's going to be, but say you pick 13 players. I bet 8 of them everyone has the same top 8. As in everyone will have Teddy if he's playing or whatever it might be. But that's the same as normal SuperCoach. But I'm imagining a condensed number given the less number of games.
Yeah. All right, well, Tubes, let's get into actual round review now. First game of the round was a cracker, the Panthers versus the Storm. And Tubes, this was the one that Maddie, yourself and me did the watch-along for on Thursday night. Lots of fun, the watch-along. Tubes, we spoke the next day about how good it is that there's so many people engaging with the comments section and just making the watch-along what it is. It's so much more entertaining with people getting involved. And I like that the call that you made when we spoke the next day was you said it's kind of just like with, older generation, our dads, they would just go to the pub and the footy's on and they're just talking about whatever they want to talk about while the footy's on. And this is kind of the modern day equivalent. This is the 2025 version of going to the pub with your mates and having a bit of a chat and just watching the footy, enjoying the footy, but also just talking about the other stuff that's going on as well.
Yeah, it is good. And especially when the comments are just going off, just the questions that are coming through and it's like having a whole pub that you're talking to, because it's obviously not just 4 or 5 people that you might be hanging out with. There's a lot happening, and that reminds me, I forgot because it was so good last week, and it was probably I think it smashed our ratings, most views, most minutes watched, whatever those stats are. But it's good. We're coming into the mega watch along this Friday night. So instead of Thursday night this week, we're going to do it Friday night. And we're doing both games. And I think Matt said people like Aman and Physio and others are coming on, and we're going to do a bit of a roster. So it's going to be even better. It'll be Friday night. It'll be a Friday night doubleheader at the pub equivalent.
Yeah, and the great games as well. So it's obviously the Panthers versus the Raiders, which is going to be such a good game to kick it off at 6. I think Matt's going to be leading the charge on that one with a bunch of different contributors. And then there's the 8 o'clock game is the Storm versus the Dogs, which is an awesome game as well. So, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting on, looking forward to watching when I'm not on and getting on myself a little bit later on. But should be an absolute cracker. Tubes, the watch-along that we did this week, we were all gobsmacked at the end when Harry Grant crossed for that try. He's ended up with 86 with that match-winning try. He kind of
Needed
needed it. He needed it. Yeah, he hadn't utilised his running game much. He actually only had 5 runs all game. That included the match-winning try. So only 4 runs prior. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it, with Harry, is that he's a hooker who can do things like that. A lot of hookers don't have that upside in their game. Harry does.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good again. Obviously, scored well. He did need that, as you said, but yeah, it was just good to see for owners. I mean, you're not busting to race to bring him in, but he had a 3-round average of 81 coming into this game. He scored 86, so he's solidified that form hooker of the back end of the year for the run home challenge.
The other interesting thing from that game was the fullback swap. So Munster has ended up playing fullback. Nick Meaney, who had been deputising whenever Pappy had been down, went back to centre. Look, it's obviously not a long-term play because Pappy, hopefully, if his recovery goes well from that concussion, should only be a 1-week sit-out for him. But I didn't like it, Munster at fullback. I thought it was going to reap the rewards for him being there, Tubes, but it didn't seem to really boost him. If anything, it did the opposite.
I think it showed up how much he's just lost a step. Like he doesn't have as much pace as he once had. I'm not saying he looked slow or he didn't, but if you put him back there 3 or 4 years ago, which is probably the last time he played fullback,
longer, I reckon.
He certainly didn't look as dynamic as he used to, and you probably just notice it more when they play that fullback role. I didn't really get it. I'd say Pappy's going to be back. I would imagine that if it wasn't a 1-week thing, they wouldn't have done it. They probably just picked their best team for what they thought the 17 could be for that week, and that included Pezzett and Meaney into the centres. Whereas I imagine if Pappy was out longer term, I couldn't see them continuing on with that. I don't think it really suited them. I don't know when Hughes is back though. Is he meant to be back before the finals?
If he is, it's 27, I think. Like,
yeah, okay.
it's going to be cutting it close for the finals. The other thing with Munster, Tubes, I was looking up his numbers. He averages 23 points a game in tackles in SuperCoach, and playing fullback, he made 2 tackles the whole game. So, like, that obviously takes a big dip from where he gets pretty good base. And he did have more runs than usual. But what was really notable was that he had no offloads, and I think that's because he was often taking early hit-ups where there's less likely to be offloads thrown. Like, he loves getting that ball kind of going across and then throwing offloads here and there on the 3rd or 4th tackle, which he wasn't really getting those opportunities. It worked out for Nick Meaney, though. 84 points playing at centre. He actually lost points from goals this week. His running game was awesome. He actually had 26 power stats between offloads and tackle busts this week, which is not usually his go to that extent.
Yeah, he looked good. It'll be interesting this week against the Dogs on Friday night. If Pappy's still out, like to see, like Munster could be a sit.
You could never sit Munster. You say that as a non-owner. You probably hope people sit him. Ex-Coates had 84 points with a double. With Garrick going down, Tubes, and I know there's a lot of people who still held Herbie as well. They probably have to make a trade there if they have any left. Could you get around Coates as a pod for the run home?
I mean, you could. He keeps scoring those tries off kicks. I haven't honestly thought about it. Like, I can't see that I'll be bringing him in, especially at the price. I'll probably be trying to find something else.
Yeah. Eli Katoa, 74 points, over 6 of that was in base plus power. He had a little bit of a down patch, Ellie, but his base is definitely a little bit back this last couple of weeks. He looked good, I thought. Really good game.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I didn't really notice him. I know we watched on the watch along, but I think he just got through his work. He's always good in those big games though. When it does get a bit tough, he probably relies a bit more on attacking stats where the games aren't as tough, and it's no surprise to see his base plus power back up this week.
And the last couple from the Storm, Wishy, 74 with a couple of assist Tubes. We spoke about him when he was first going to halfback, that we thought he was a really good pod option. I'd say he's pretty much doing exactly what we expected him to do.
Yeah. I think he was a good cheap option, doing what he does.
And Cold Hero, Seve, what did Dan call him? Spec Seves, because he's wearing the goggles when he plays. He had 72 points with a try, and Tubes, a non-highlight for you was that try-saving tackle on your man, Big Bad Brian.
Yeah.
Good, clean, fair tackle, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, he obviously got him high. Um, I mean, you respect it though. He stopped the try. He did what he did. It didn't cost him a penalty try or a sin bin or anything like that. So it worked. But yeah, it certainly stopped Big Bad Brian in his tracks, which not many can do from 10 out.
Brian was interesting. He ended up on 61 in base plus power, no attack at all to help boost him. He was on like nearly 50 at half time, like high 40s at half time. I didn't really notice in the second half. Did you go back and watch through what happened with Brian? The game didn't go his way.
No, as I think I've been saying it for weeks. He now looks fully fit, but they really just don't go right very often. So he sort of has to make his own. He has to make his own attack, and I think he had plenty of tackle breaks in the first half, and that probably was what was helping him. But I don't think he still did work in the second half, but he just nothing explosive, nothing that made huge points for him.
I'm going to take a big look at him, Tubes, as my Garrick replacement, just because I think with Panthers losing and Warriors winning, that reduces the likelihood of Panthers being able to rest players. If Panthers had a 1 and got 3 points clear of the Warriors, maybe they're more likely to rest around 27. But now they're back to 5th. They're going to be fighting with the tough game this week against the Raiders. So I am going to be having a big look at Tor. I think I agree with you that he does look really fit again. Dylan, did you have more to add on Tor, Tubes?
I did not.
No, I was going to say Dylan Edwards. We should have started with him from the Panthers' perspective. 119 with 2 assists. He had a great game. 74 points in base plus power alone. Tubes on the watch long, and this got clipped up on social media of all three of us blowing up saying that first try assist shouldn't have been one. How do you feel about that now that the dust has settled? We copped a bit of criticism on socials, people saying that that's a clear try assist. You guys are all non-owners. You just bias. Are people right?
Yeah, I didn't remember being. I might have. Maybe I got sucked into the vortex. I don't remember being that like. I think I didn't think it would be given as a try assist because I hate when they don't give the ones where it's a great leap and jump and they take a great thing and then pass straight away. Whereas obviously he took the kick, ran a bit, and then drew the fullback. I think it should be given. I just felt like it wasn't fully consistent. But yeah, I did like. I think Matt was certainly the big non-owner talking on the watch along that I think he said 4 or 5 times. I can't believe he got that try assist. So I think it should be a try assist and it's a clear try assist.
Yeah, I've definitely softened. I agree with you though. At the same time, like Coates did one later where he leapt over 3 people, tapped the ball back in for a try. And he gets a TC. Like that's where it's inconsistent for me. I think if one's a try assist, the other one should be a try assist as well. That's the only thing I'd say. I'm not unhappy about the Edwards one, but I think Coach should have got one for what he did. I think what he did had more impact on the try potential than Edwards. Like a lot of people could have done what Edwards did in that involvement. Not many people could have done what Coach did, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should be paid tries. I think there was one earlier in the year where like Carraz leaped up, jumped. He might have got it in updates. I can't remember, but he leaped up, jumped, took one, basically then had to throw this offload with 2 people tackling him, and he only got a TC for it. Like it's just there needs to be some consistency around that.
And Nathan Cleary, 74 with a try off the Dylan Edwards try assist that we were talking about earlier. Tubes, he was the most popular VC of the round at 30%. You unintentionally had the VC on Cleary after a little flirtation with the optimised team button.
I did, and it's certainly a good lesson for all on that Thursday night. When you're reversing trades and changing up things, you really got to check your team right before kickoff because I was fine in terms of my players, and I knew I was no problem with that. But yeah, using that optimize meant that they put the VC on Cleary. Thankfully, not the C. It actually turned out I was blowing up about it, and I was particularly blowing up about it when Nico went off because he's who I would have VC'd. But it's worked out better for me.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I then captained Walsh and I didn't have to loop, which I would have done if I VC'd Nico.
Yes, you got a better score and didn't get the AE come in.
Yeah, it's worked out for me, but still a good lesson to learn without having to pay a price for it.
The best kind of lesson. The next game, not the most Supercoach relevant, the Warriors versus the Dragons. You know, when you got your two top scorers of the game are Matt Fearneye and Adam Pompey, that it's not the most Supercoach relevant game. And they were marking up against each other, and maybe potentially their poor defensive reads was why they both went well, you might be able to argue. But choose the one that jumps out to me. Obviously, you mentioned Jackson Ford, huge score. That really sucks now for owners like yourself that he's going to be suspended and miss the rest of the year.
91 in base plus power in 67 minutes, and he dropped the ball over the line. Like,
yeah,
he's he'll be an option. He'll put him in your little black book for the start of next year.
No, because Barnett will be back. I think like he's filling that Barnett void at the moment. There's too many good between them two and Fish. There's just too many good forwards in that pack that I couldn't
you're right.
touch him.
No, he's played that Barnett role, which is why he would have been nice for the last 3 rounds.
I like the look at Tane Tuapiki, who had 76 with 2 assists. If you knew that he was going to hold to that spot for a long term, he's available at centre wing playing fullback. I think he'd be a good little pot option. He's 491k. He'll go up a bit this week. Only 1% owned. It's just that Leotawa and Berry, there's a bit of mixed information on when they're going to be back. Like Leotawa was originally named to be expected to come back this week, but he's not. He didn't play New South Wales Cup. Rocco Berry potentially back next week. And there is the chance that if they both come back, you get Chance Nickel-Klokstad goes back to fullback and old mate Tuapiki drops out.
We'll see this week. Hopefully we see this week and get an idea. But it's a juicy matchup. They play the Titans 5:30 on the Gold Coast. If weather is good, based on how it looked on the weekend, you wouldn't mind playing him against the Titans.
No, wouldn't mind playing Roger either, who's gone 72 with a late try assist, 43 points in hit-ups. He just keeps getting it done, and their draw is quite nice, the Waz. So he might be one that's worth taking a look at as a Garrick replacement as well. He's not as potty as some of the other options. Like he is in 11% of teams, which is still amongst that top 10%. That's pretty low ownership, worth a look. And Aaron Clark, only 47 minutes this week, which is not ideal, but he did bang out 66 points in that time.
Yep.
And from the Dragons side of things, like I mentioned, Fearneye 127 with a double. He's actually gone 70, 80, 127 in his 3 games of first grade this year. So getting it done from his last 3 games first grade. So he's getting it done, Supercoach scoring wise. And look, the Dragons pack had pretty good scores. I'm not going to mention any of them because they had 3 concussions with guys ruled out of the game. So, of course, their forwards are going to get good scores because they all got boosted minutes. Choose the Roosters versus the Dogs. And Naf White, 105 and 53 minutes with a double. He is such a good player.
Yeah, I mean, was he coming back from an injury or something? Like he's had such a I know last year you'd probably say was his breakout year, but it feels like this year he's just become an absolute gun, consistent first grader, and he's really then shown that even giving more minutes and more responsibilities in that Roosters pack this year, he's just gotten better. And so, yeah, I think he honestly will. I think we'll do when we review the season and the way that things look. I think that he could end up being a real tier 1 front row forward moving forward.
Yeah, I like that call. I think last year was the year he proved he's a good first grade player. And this year's the year where you're like, could he be the leading front rower in a gun team? Like, that's the kind of level he's playing at. Tubes, I want to talk about Daniel Tupou, who had 90 points with 3 tries. Sammy Walker is the factor here. So in the 6 games he's had with Sammy Walker this year, Tubes has scored 10 tries. He scored 8 in the 15 games prior. So decent sample sizes there. I can't see why this maybe potentially it could keep happening. Like, is Tupou an option? At 2% ownership.
Tupou's an option. It's a tough one because I think Dan has him.
Yeah.
And he never plays him. Because, he's scored all these tries. He still only had 90 on the weekend with 3 tries. Yeah. Similar to Coates, they score these tries off kicks and they're just not worth as much as obviously the line break and tries that come with those ones. But the fact that they're so left side dominant, like Mark Nwangani-Tawase's only had 35, and it's just another run of poor, probably 4 or 5 out of the last 6 weeks since Walker's been back. And that's just because they are so left side dominant. So I definitely think Tupu's an option. I don't know if I want to back in that he's just going to keep scoring tries, and it doesn't feel like a big enough upside for a Garrick replacement.
Yeah, I think it's pretty well put. Teddy, 85 points with an assist. It's most busts he had in a game since round 13, so he's looking fit and looking good again. Gus Crichton, 83. He actually had a forced dropout, which you don't normally see from Gus, but a really good score. Strong base plus power this week out of Gus. Connor Watson-Tubes is really disappointing for his 52% of owners in that top 10%. He's had 22 points in 54 minutes. And with that Garrick injury, a lot of people have now had to keep that Watson score in their team. Like I know I got him as my AE this week with a loop. Started off the bench again, despite being named to start. And the other thing that jumped out for me, Tubes, he actually came off again when the Roosters had won and the game was over. They actually took him off with a few minutes left, which I know he would have got 25 instead of 22. But it's more from a perspective of, are they trying to nurse him through and give him breaks before they have a potential semi-finals campaign?
It could be that. It's interesting he keeps getting named to start. Like he must have one of the most fitted jerseys going around. Like I wonder if he's actually got it tailored to his biceps, so that's why he has to get named in the number 9 jersey each week. But he's a very fit man, Connor Watson. I don't know like what's going on with whether they're carrying him through an injury. The one thing I will say is I don't think it's going to stop. Purely because the Roosters forward pack is absolutely humming right now. Like they are just rolling through teams. We talked about Naf White, obviously Crichton. They've got Lindsay Collins coming through. Steep looks good. Victor Radley brings something always. Like their team is just looking like their forward pack in particular and the rotation they've got is really steamrolling team that it's actually allowing the likes of Sam Walker and Tedesco to do what they need to do. I thought they looked very good against the Dogs on Friday night. I didn't think the Dogs were that poor to begin the game. I really just thought that the Roosters forwards just dominated them. Yeah,
agree. And you're right, because he's going to get his minutes at hooker. Like I don't think he got any minutes at all at lock on the weekend. They were never on the field at the same time, the two hookers. So
and what's his name? The hooker.
I don't know how to say it's a yellow.
He does a job. He does a job for that 26 minutes, and he's done it 3 weeks in a row. I don't see it changing.
Agree. To the Doggies, Critter only had 38 points with a try assist, but he was still sweeping and playing that fullback role on the right in attack, even with Connor Tracy coming back. He was still sweeping on that right edge and pushing Tracy to right centre. That was not at all what I expected to happen.
That's my fault, though, just as an FYI. He's had 52 with a try assist. I don't know why. I must have put 38 in our numbers. So he's had 52. So he was the top Dogs point scorer in just a very lowly point affair from a Dogs point of view. So they've only had 12 points, 2 tries. He's kicked their goals. And as you said, he was playing that sweeping he was basically playing fullback in attack. And they had Connor Tracy sitting on the right edge playing centre. Not an easy matchup this week, though, against the Storm. So we'll see if they can bounce back. But Crichton still, we talk about these Garrick options. He very much comes back into the frame again, I think.
He doesn't for me. And it's only because of the draw. Storm, Panthers, Sharks. You can't finish the year much tougher than that. Like the only way to make it harder would be if the Raiders were there. And the Dogs have still only beaten, I think they've beaten one top 8 team all year, and that streak continued against the Roosters on the weekend. Oh, no, they beat the Warriors the week before, didn't they? So they've beaten now 2 top 8 teams this year, the Dogs, and they're finishing the year against 3 good top 8 teams. So
what a draw to finish off for them.
Yeah.
And even just for us to have these games, like it's just, I know it's the way the draws ended up working out, but it feels like all the good teams are playing each other over the next few weeks and all the bad teams are playing each other. And you really do still want to target some particular teams and certainly the Storm, Panthers and Sharks aren't really them.
Well, yeah, and the Doggies kind of other guys underperforming too. So Jacob Preston, 50 in only 69 minutes. Billy Kicks, 46, no offloads this week. And Jacob Kidd has 36 points, including a forced dropout. You still have
Left
to play.
wing. He got moved to the left wing, so that sucked because
he's not on the back of those critter sweeps anymore.
Yeah, so the try that they did have was with Tuala on the right wing, and that obviously would have been Kiraz's. The left winger is not a great spot for the Dogs, unless they get that kick-out sweep and play going, because they just love hit and kick out short, and then they love ducking back under to Bronson Cherry. Yeah, I mean, you have to play him. You're never not going to play Kiraz, but I'd much rather see him back on the right.
Yeah. Let's get on the next game, Chiefs. The Sharks versus the Titan, which your Sharkies smashed them. We mentioned Nico already, 146, 2 tries, 2 assists, TC, 22 points in conversions. He was, after Nathan Cleary, the second most popular VC of the round, and I was very happy taking that loop that he got with that big score. Chibs, watching this one, you always watch the Sharkies closer than I do. Was it just back to being Nico ball? Why the big score this week?
I think because the Sharks scored 54 points against the Titans, and Nico also kicks goals, and he scored 2 tries. It was back to Nico ball. It's hard to say. The Titans were terrible. They started poorly, and then they sort of got back in it with 2 tries, and then they just never looked likely again. Like, there was just missed tackles. Would I say Nico was being extremely dominant? I don't think so. I think that they were just bobbing up everywhere and being dominant sort of across the park. I thought it was interesting, the Sharks backline. So Hiroti looked very, very good. He had 113 with 2 try assists and 2 line breaks, 7 tackle busts. But that Sharks, with Hiroti in the team and then Talakai at the other centre, the Sharks back 5 just steamrolled through, and that's when the Sharks are at their best. When their back 5 is making over 100, 150 metres, and they all absolutely killed it. Hiroti 113, Katoa 108, Muatalo 100, and Will Kennedy 90. You'll notice the one name I didn't say when reading out those scores was the one Sharks backline player I did play this week, and that was Sifa Talakai, who only unfortunately got a 51. But yeah,
that happened to you a few weeks back with young GI. I remember the Broncos had every player in their back that went 80 plus, and the one that you owned was young GI, and that's happened again this week with Talakai and the Sharks.
Yeah, it's just a sign of the year. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You got to play Nico on matchups, because the thing is, when they do dominate, he dominates, and having the goal kicking, when they score big, he scores big. Like, that's just sort of how it works. It's just whether or not he can go well in those tight games with Nico ball anymore.
Yeah. Look, I think Hiroti is also an option, by the way. Like, I can't believe it. I'm a Rabbitohs fan and watched him play at the Rabbitohs. He didn't ever look good. He's massive. Like, he's tackle busting this year. He's put on so much size.
Footwork?
Yeah, good on him. Like, he's become a really good, dependable NRL player who, like, should fight or could fight his way into that Sharkies team, even when they're at full strength. He looks really, really good. And
we're always looking for a Sharks fullback, and he's been playing New South Wales Cup at fullback, and I thought, I think Dan mentioned, he looked very elusive. His footwork looked good, looked silky hands. Could be an option.
Tubes, massive news. I did get a little bit distracted when you were talking about your Sharkies boys. Updates have come in. Tommy Turbo, 59. We're back.
Pretty good.
It's very nice. Extra 20 points. We'll take that.
It feels. He didn't get that cooler try assist, did he? We haven't got to that game, but I hope that's.
We'll just save it. We'll get there later. All right. So the other 2 Sharks I want to quickly talk about, Tubes. Blake Brayley, 71 with an assist. And Adam Fanua-Blake, 34 points in 47 minutes. And Sharks, when they knew the game was done, they just rested, didn't bring him back in for another stint, which makes sense. Why would you? Like, these guys don't play Supercoach, so they're quite happy to give their players a chance to rest, especially a big minute man like AFB when you have a finals campaign coming up.
Yeah, and they've got the bye next week, so he'll get to rest up. And then we just talked about the outside backs, where they play the Knights in 2 weeks, and then, as you said before, finish with the Dogs. So, it could be it's a lean couple of weeks for AFB because I can't imagine he'll play big minutes against the Knights without scoring a try.
Yeah, all right. Let's get on to the Titans. They had two returning players very important to their team. Tino, 56 points in 53 minutes. He did get taken off for a HIA, but he was cleared and came back on. And Keanu Kinney Tubes, which looks like it will impact you as an AJ Brimson owner. He had 17 minutes. Big watch for next week. Do they take it slow with him off the bench again, or does he just get that fullback role straight back?
So what happened? I think I must have missed the last. I missed it. So do they move Brimson to centre, or do they move? Do you know what happened there? Did you see the game?
I didn't know. I saw the first half. I didn't get to see the second half of this game.
Yeah, I think I missed the last 15 minutes for some reason. I can't remember why, or if I was just watching on my phone and I didn't pick up on it. I was just enjoying the Sharks just belting them. Oh, I think when the Sharks were up by so much, I sort of didn't watch the last little bit where the Titans scored a little bit. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. Brimson at 5'8" is not the worst, but I think it's more than likely, given Fermor played centers, left center on the weekend, that we'll see Keeney at fullback and AJ Brimson pop up at left center.
Chiefs, I want to talk about Fermor because I think that people should stop overthinking it. They need a trade now from Reuben Garrick. I just think just get Bo. I think people have been finding reasons, he lacks the upside, this and that. Like, he's killing it. The guy, like, every week he just gets good Supercoach scores. I know he played at centre. He had 65 with a try. But him at back row is just so underrated. I don't see why he's not higher than 30%. I think people should just get him this week for Garrick.
Really? He just got named at centre. You don't want to bring it. He scored a try and got 65. So he based 48. Like, I wouldn't be bringing him in.
Tubes, I just said on the basis of what you said of Kinney playing fullback and Brimson left centre. Yeah, I'm saying as a back rower.
Yeah, but even then, like, I think it's too up in the air. Like he's clearly with an injury or with in this case it wasn't an injury this week, but if something happens, he's their go-to move to centre. And then I know he scored this week and he still got 65, but I just think that the risk reward isn't enough to bring in Fermor at this time of the year with one of your last few trades.
Fair enough. I think he's the best option.
I mean, obviously, if you've held him all year like you're going to hold, and he's a great option. But I just don't know if you're bringing him in to buy now.
No, I think he's going to get overlooked, which is why I wanted to make a point of it. I think people will look at these other pod options. They'll go with guys with less ownership who they think have a higher ceiling, and Bo will end up outscoring probably 90% of them, like of the options that people look to bring in. And Tubes, JC, last one for this game, 51 points, no major attacking stats. He just gets the job done. Lots of defence. The Sharks ran at him a lot, so he made more tackles than usual, JC. Sharks gave him a pretty tough day at the office.
Yeah, he didn't run, though. Like, it was a real weird, and the commentators kept talking about it. Like, he just was not impacting the game at all. Don't know why, but usually he is so much more ball dominant and runs the ball a lot more, but he just wasn't. So, but again, you never sit in him. Like, he just has weird weeks sometimes, I think.
Yeah. All right, Tubes, let's get on to Ready to Explode. Who have you got for us?
My Ready to Explode this week is, as it has been all year, I've taken a bit of liberty. And I think this man has been exploding already, and that is Sam Walker. He's looked absolutely electric since he's come back from his ACL. And as I mentioned before, the Roosters are absolutely dominating at the moment. Their forward pack's looking good, and he's looking very good off the back of it. They've just snuck into the 8 this week. With the Dolphins losing and them winning. The Roosters now play the Eels next week, then the Storm, and then the Bunnies to finish off in the last round of the year. I just think that whether or not he's a must get this week, I do think though he's an option to look at, particularly for head-to-head players playing in their prelim finals this week. Nico's on the bye. I think him versus the Eels, he could have an absolute monster game. I think even for overall players, depending on how many trades that you do have and what your flex looks like and what your halves look like, I think he could be an option to look to bring in if you can make it work with the different sort of movements that are hanging around. And yeah, I just think it's clear to me he's come back in, and Savala's been named as his 5'8" instead of Smith, and everything is geared towards this is his team. Even Teddy's taken a bit of a back step compared to what he was, and his kicking game's unbelievable. That left side plays we talked about with Tupu, like I think that he's so dominant that those 74s are in just games where he's doing well. I wouldn't be surprised if he notches up a 150 over these next 3 games.
Yeah, I like it. I don't have much to add other than I think I'd say must have if you're a head-to-head player who's got the right amount of trades left. I would put him in that category. My ready-to-explode player is a very different type of ready-to-explode player. I am not advocating that people buy him. I am advocating that if you have an injury or a man named Jackson Ford who was just suspended for 3 weeks and the rest of the year, I like this guy as a bit of an under-discussed pod. So Stefano Udakamanu, who is currently in 0.1% of Supercoach teams at 550k, he had 70 on the weekend. The big thing for me, Tubes, is he's passing the eye test recently. Since Origin 3, actually, is when he seems like his form has really turned around. So he's averaging 72 in his 5 50-minute games since Origin. That did include only 1 try, so it's not like he's gone on a huge attacking stat run. It's mainly coming from base plus power. In particular, his power stats, his offloads and tackle busts over this period have seen a real lift. I think he might finally be becoming the player he's always had potential to be. Now that he's had nearly a year under that Storm system, he is leading their front row. Like he's the man who's making all the impact. He's the big minute man. I just think he's the kind of guy that if you had an injury in a key position, like front row or second row, and you can use the duels, I like him as one to bring in. Anything?
No, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's sort of like Firma, I guess. Like, I can't get excited about Stefano. And even him averaging 72, and he could keep averaging 72. Like, I just don't want it. I just don't feel like he can explode. I feel like he's a very good option if it was round 8. Or round 7, and you were getting him at this price and all of those numbers that you were saying. But yeah, I mean, he has been doing well. It's almost like Bellamy's plan to get him some Origin experience and under his belt, and just sort of work his way into the season has paid off.
Yeah, I think a definite option to look at for the start of next year. If this role stays the way it is for the rest of this season, you'd look at him at next year potentially as like an underpriced guy to start the year with. Tubes, second half of the round review, and we're going to have to go a little bit quicker because we're nearly 50 minutes into the pod and we're just getting into the second half of the review. But Broncos versus the Finns, Tubes, we mentioned Reece Walsh has come up a couple of times. 153 points, try and assist, 26 points in conversions. I looked at the touches. He had the most touches of any player in the game outside of hookers and halfbacks. So what we expected with that Broncos team of him being a more dominant player absolutely happened. Like he got more touches than Billy Walters, who's the 5'8". So I think he's an unbelievable player to own for the back end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I missed the first 5 minutes of the game, like just watching, and he was on 12 points after 5 minutes, and that's not his MO at all. Like, as in, he's just clearly was so much more involved, and he then kicked the 40-20. He put him on his back when they needed him to do stuff. I know I'm just talked about Sammy Walker, but if you have a spot in your flex, in your fullbacks, he's an absolute must-have for this next 3 weeks with Reynolds out.
Katoni Staggs, another, like I've said, Garrick replacements. I will look at Katoni Staggs. I feel like Katoni Staggs, Tubes, is the kind of guy who would get you excited more than a Beau Fermor because he's a big upside man. They got a game against the Knights next week, then Cowboys. They do finish the year against the Storm, but resting potentially. Like that could be a reserve grade Storm side, a glorified reserve grade side. So I think he's in career best form. I don't think Katoni Staggs over the last 8 weeks has ever played better footy consistently than what he has in this period. He seems so motivated. He seems fit. His base and power is exploding at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be an option. I've got Shibasaki on the left, could get Katoni on the right. He's, as you say, I'd say he's been the Broncos' best outside back. Whether or not it's been this season, it's certainly been the last 2 months. He's been their best player. I need to look more into his numbers, but he looked good, and I think it's worth looking at.
Tube, since that game, the black jersey game, the Katoni Staggs was a leading man behind that jersey getting done. He has only gone sub 50 twice, and he's had 2 scores over 100, plus this one now in the 90s. So his numbers are really impressive over that period, and I will take a big look.
The other thing, even with that last Storm game, is it's at Suncorp. Like, it's a Suncorp Thursday night game. If they do rest the Storm, like these Suncorp games, they just put on 50 points on like teams. That's just, it's, I don't know what it is. It's a fast track or whatever, but it's always high scoring there.
Payne Haas, 99. His only attack of the game was a line assist, so that was mainly in base plus power. He looked absolutely phenomenal, as he always does. Your man, Tubes, young GI, Gamut Shibasaki had 65 with an assist. You actually announced on the watch-along that you were selling him this week, but he survived. You played him, and he got the job done again.
Just couldn't do it. Couldn't bring myself to do it. I was probably disappointed a little bit. He updated from 49 to 65 today, thankfully. But yeah, I'm happy to hold that run I just said coming up. I ended up selling Lehigh over him. And yeah, him and Walsh have a nice little connection. So it should be good for a few weeks.
Katapani, a little bit disappointing for people who played him this week. He had 46 with a try off a kick. He also dropped one that he should have scored as well, so it could have been a really big score. As an owner, I ended up sitting him because I looped. He was my man I sat out of the team. I'm a little bit worried about Jesse Arthur's lurking in that extended bench. That does he drop out, because he's a number that I want to hang around in case I need to play him.
Well, he's a play next week if he's named in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Choose from the Finns' perspective, really not much Supercoach relevant. Like Fuller and J&K had really good Supercoach games. The one player I want to highlight is Irish Kurt Donahue, who I didn't play this week, but he's in my squad. He had 80 minutes and had 77 points with a try assist leading towards that. But his minutes thing, like last week, for some reason, the minutes just dropped. Otherwise, he's been generally getting 70-plus minutes as a lock in a team, getting through a lot of defensive work. He's a real link man in attack. Again, I think you could do worse than Irish Kurt.
Yep, fair enough.
All right, next game, the Bunnies versus the Eels. This was the least relevant Supercoach game of the round, because there was really only one man, was Zach Lomax, who everyone owns. He's in 92% of the top 10%. He had 126 with 2 tries. His base plus power is back in a big way this week, over 60 points in base plus power. And he was actually 10% captained. And the people who did it, like a lot of good captaincy options this week, went well.
Yeah, it was one of those weeks where I don't know how many would have captained Drinky, but yeah, certainly that matchup against the Rabbitohs looked very good. Obviously, the Eels got beat, but thankfully Zach Lomax still absolutely killed it. I know we've started on the Eels here, Jono, but what about, there was a lot of spruiking for Alex Johnson, going for the try scoring record. Is he an option? They're going to be looking for him. He unfortunately didn't score a try, so he's got 3 weeks left to break the record, and he was back to his old tricks. 19 with a line break assist and an effective offload.
Yeah. Chiefs, with all that being said, first of all, it's actually only 2 games because Rabbitohs have a bye, so he's got to get that record in 2 games.
Jeez, yeah.
But he stopped being a consideration the second Latrell Mitchell was confirmed out of the team. Like, that,
yeah, okay.
You take out Trell, you don't consider AJ. Like, you need him feeding him on that left edge. And the man who played left centre instead of Trell, Tallis Duncan, he actually wasn't named there, but that Bailey Bentley Harpe got injured, and Tallis went to left centre. And he's not passing the ball. He's not looking after AJ. He's such a good runner of the ball. He just gets on the arm, scored 2 tries himself. Shivs, the other one from the Eels I want to mention is your mate, your rival, I'll call him, Charlie Geimer. 22 points in only 25 minutes after being moved back to the bench this week. Kelma Chualangi went into the starting lineup. He's now back to being an AE nightmare.
Yeah, he had a good run. I don't know. I thought he was looking good NRL wise. Maybe no coincidence that he's been dropped to the bench and they've lost. They've had their worst game in the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, his minutes did get cut last week too. Like he started, but he went from 80 minutes back down to I think maybe 50 last week. So yeah, not good signs.
Can't say I've been on Geimer watch for too long, to be honest. I haven't really been keeping up to date with Geimer's minutes.
The Tigers versus Seagulls, obviously we already spoke about Tommy Turbo. What a great trade it was now that he's been updated to 59 points. Very happy about that. But the one that I'm taking away from this game, and again, Tubes, whenever there's an injured player of relevance, we like to talk about the best replacements. Is Adam Doueihi potentially one of them? He had 111 with a try and assist, 20 points in conversions. Since he's gone into this more dominant role, combined between lock and halfback, but where he's been getting heaps of touches, he's had 300 plus scores now. Available at centre wing, he's going to be over 600k now, but he's a bit of a pod, only 4% of that top 10%. What do you think of Doueihi?
Yeah, I think he's good. He's been very dominant. He's taken on the dominant half role. He kicks a lot. He's clearly fully fit. I don't know if he's signed a contract yet or he's still playing for a contract, but he's absolutely killing it. As you said, it's not just the SuperCoach statistics the last few weeks, but eye test wise, he's probably been the number one man, like getting them back moving and back on the up for the Tigers.
Yeah, he's absolutely. I thought his career was kind of not over, but I thought he wasn't ever going to kind of come back to the potential he showed early on. But he looks fast, he looks engaged. Good on him, and I think he deserves consideration this week.
Play the Titans in round 27 as well. Whether that's any consideration. Is he? I know he's goal kicking too, isn't he? Yeah.
Yep.
So,
yep. Jubes, if you told me that Taylor May got to run against Tommy Talau every week, I would probably consider him as an option for Garrick because he made him look like one of the most dangerous centres in the world. He had 97 with a try, but just absolutely dominated Talau after Garrick went off.
Yeah, I think similar to the wet games the other week, you got to ignore that left centre position for the Tigers this week, going up against Talau in the centres once Garrick got injured.
Taylor's brother Terrell, no slouch either, 77 points in 70 minutes. But onto the Seagulls, Tubes. Kohler can confirm Turbo did get the assist for the Kohler try. That's where that boost in points has come from. That is unicorn. That is unicorn. That's unicorn stuff.
He literally just passed him the ball. We were joking because we were obviously got Turbo. We were joking, oh, they're not going to give him that. And then I looked and they didn't give him the TC. And all of us went, oh, yeah, that's still probably fair enough. Didn't even deserve a try contribution. He's now got the try assist and line break assist. Wow. That's huge. Crazy.
Love that. And Tubes, what about I was just on Garrick. We've spoken a lot about his injury. It is bad. He's going for scans left shoulder. He felt a crack. If he needs surgery, it's a 3 to 5 month injury. So it's a proper bad one, unfortunately, for Reuben Garrick. The best story, Tubes, in that game today was Jake Simpkin. Did you hear about this in the coverage? What happened to him? So he had 65 points with a try assist in the game. Not the most important assist of the day for Jake because his wife delivered their baby at 12 p.m. He had his first child at 12 p.m., called an Uber from the hospital to the ground and played at 2 o'clock.
There you go.
How good's that?
Made it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think he regrets that decision?
No.
Don't know.
It's pretty cool.
It is cool, but I just mean then getting beat 26 to 12. Like you could have sat that one out. Like it. Could have stayed with the newborn and the wife and just watched them get beat 26 to 12. I mean, it's a great story. Would have been much more heroic if they won. If they won, and that try assist meant something at the end of the game.
Do you reckon if your wife had a baby at 5:30, Tubes, you would have been out online by 7:30 ready to record a pod tonight?
No.
All right. Final game of the round, the Cowboys versus the Knights, which the Cowboys put on a clinic. Scotty Drinkwater, he's into 151 now with the updates coming through. He had 2 tries, 2 assists. The biggest thing, Tubes, obviously he's got that stuff in him. He's just getting this goal kicking back. It's absolutely massive, him having the goal kicking back and what it does to his scores. Like a game like today, he had 28 points in conversions. Like, it just elevates that ceiling for him. So he was 12% captained this game. And, yeah, well done to all those who held, which should have been everyone. It should have been me. But he's in 81% of the top 10%, and it's huge.
Only 2 games left by round 27. Does play the Tigers next week, but it is at Leichhardt Oval. Tigers love getting up for that.
And they're looking better, the Tigers.
Yeah, and then plays the Broncos, which could be a must-win game for the Broncos, and obviously looking good too. So I'm still backing in Turbo to beat him with an extra game advantage on the run home.
Let's hope so, Chips. Tommy Dearden, 96 with a try and an assist, and a couple of pod outside backs went well. Jackson Purdue, 74 points with a try, and Braden Burns, 75 points with a try. Definite options that people could also look at as replacements for Garrick. Would you have any strong feelings on any of those, Tubes? You're a bit of a Braden Burns guy.
Just the buy. You can't bring anyone from this.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
good
it's
point.
Irrelevant. Like, you're holding Drinky, obviously. I think the Garrick news probably, it's the biggest thing is people just aren't going to have trades to trade out Drinky for the last game. So they're just going to have to hold him. But
yeah.
I hope he goes big, keeps going big the next 2 weeks.
So you're saying it was a clever play by me to get ahead of that and make the trade this week?
Yeah. No.
And Dane Gagai.
Only cost you 80 points now, not 100. So
yeah, massive.
With that, yeah.
It seriously does make a difference to my mindset, seeing that 59. I might go back and be a little bit less harsh in the rage trade chat at the start. Might make it more positive. Edit some audio of me going, I think...
Set up a great try for Cooler.
Chiefs, Dane Gagai back at centre, not goal kicking, and had 30 points, which is actually really low base plus power for him in a game where he plays centre. Like, contract signed, sealed, delivered, maybe Gagai just trying to take it easy and recharge the batteries for next year. I hope not. I hope he finishes the year strong.
Conspiracy Dan was putting in the chat a little bit around Aidan O'Brien's contract. Apparently there's a clause in there that he's guaranteed renewal if they finish top 12. So I don't know. That came from Conspiracy Dan. But the Knights' performance was abysmal today, and Gagai certainly wasn't his usual. He wasn't trying to lift him off the turf like he has been over the last few weeks.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Tubes, that brings us out to a close from our round review. Just a reminder, as always, got to get on the Tuesday show where Matt and the boys will be plugging particularly who the best Garrick replacements are, giving some strategy ahead of head-to-head preliminary finals as well. So make sure you listen to that. And then Thursday for the Q&A pod. And then very important to note that no watch-along on Thursday, because like Tubes mentioned at the top, mega watch-along, 5 hours from 5 till 10 p.m. on Friday. Mega watch-along.
5 till 10, that is mega. That'll be huge. I think we'll be jumping on at some stage, probably for game 2, sometime after our kids go to bed, I would imagine. So, yeah, it should be good, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Tubes, what else have you got for us?
You beauty.